The Articles of Confederation is a key document in America's past. It not only created America to be what it was the first form of government America ever had. It had many advantages and disadvantages. It had its high points, it had its low points, as every document always does. The reason I chose to discuss it is because it is so commonly discussed. It will come up in your history class, it'll come up in politics, it'll come up pretty much anywhere. The government that we have today, and the Constitution mostly, was based off of a lot of ideas you can find in the Articles of Confederation. I've gotten most of my information from the Political Culture of the American Whigs by Daniel Howe and The American Pageant, A History of American People by David Kennedy and Elizabeth Coe. The Articles of Confederation had bad points, but it also had good points, and overall it affected everything we have today. The Articles of Confederation was not perfect in any way or sort. It had a unicameral form of government, which meant there was basically only one form of government, so it just had a Congress. It also was created so it could change very, very quickly. Sometimes it changed too quickly. This way people wouldn't be prepared for the change or even know about the changes in some cases. It also lacked a Bill of Rights. So this way, people had no ensured freedoms. People didn't know if they were allowed to speak up or if they had to stay quiet. And this also created people to distrust it and to not see it in the way they should have seen it. It had a lack of federal power. Most of the power in the Articles of Confederation was given to the states. Having no federal power meant every state had different rules, so states would argue over these rules, or if you went from one state to another, you weren't aware of what the rules were or how you should handle these rules. It also had large economic problems. Since the start of America, we have been in debt. The Articles of Confederation had to try to face this debt and didn't do so successfully, but they dealt with it the best they could. The other part of the Article of Confederation was it was created for one time period. It was created to handle war and slavery, which meant it needed to change quickly, so it did that aspect pretty well. It also created a sense of unity in a time of despair. It created something that all the states could rely on and look forward to, and it brought people together in a small way. It also supported the states. It would give states the power that it needed to do to get what the states needed done. And it created some sort of fair policy. It created something that each state had that would make it fair, instead of each state being entirely different. And then, like if I went to Kansas, it would be treated unfairly to me, except the Articles of Confederation kind of, sort of stopped that. And then the Articles of Confederation basically overall created the government we have today. The Articles of Confederation gave Congress power, which you see today, even though we have Congress and the Senate and all that good other stuff we have too, that they didn't have back then. And it also separated states and colonies. Like today we have separate states, such as Iowa is separate from Idaho. Back then it made the 13 colonies separate and recognized them as separate states instead of clumping them as all one land. So the Articles of Confederation had its good parts. It had its bad parts, as does every situation ever in the history. But overall, it influenced the Constitution to be the way it was. The Constitution learned from the Articles of Confederation's faults. It learned that we needed a Bill of Rights, so it created a Bill of Rights. The importance of the Articles of Confederation is massive. Without the Articles of Confederation, our government may not look anything like it does today. We may not have the simple freedoms we have, and we may all be clumped as one land instead of separate states. Without the Articles of Confederation, the world would have been entirely different. Could you picture it now? What would it be like without a Bill of Rights or without some sort of common rule?